This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
John is up next in Orlando, Florida. John, how can we help today?
Yes, my question is basically to determine if I just have too much cash sitting in my core account. I own my home, I own my vehicles, and I basically have 92% of my money sitting in cash or treasury bonds.
How much is that?
About $4,100,000.
Okay,
Well
hold on a
done,
second.
John.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Little cough. You have $4.1 million basically in cash, if I heard that right? That's where they're sitting in cash accounts.
Correct, in a cash account. And part of that is $1 million in a 20-year treasury bonds that have bought over the past year at an average of like 4.82.
Okay, so about $3 million is in a cash account.
Correct, but
you have
the
too
bonds
much.
are extremely liquid.
Well, yeah. So, John, how old are you?
61.
61. Okay. What's caused you not to invest on any level, whether that's real estate or the market, the stock market? Like, what's caused you not to invest?
I'm being in real estate. I do have a few retirement accounts that are in some stocks like Google and Amazon.
How much?
And I start the retirement total of $273,000 in between a Roth and traditional and SEP.
Okay, so no 401k, nothing like that.
Well, I own some real estate that will be paid off at that. Yeah, I've not done a great job with that.
No. We're not judging you at all. We're just trying to get the full picture of the total amount of money you have available. And so your opening question was, do I have too much money in cash accounts? And the answer is yes, you do. We'd like to see you invest that with our strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you're still a young guy.
For sure. And just being able to look to say, hey, with the average growth, 10, 11, 12%, what that could get you, John, your money making money is basically what it is. Because right now, when you say that that's all liquid, is that sitting in just like a high yield savings, or is that a traditional savings account? Where do you have that $3 million?
It's like a Fidelity. They have these money markets, and the one I'm in pays 5.27 right now.
Totally,
And then the treasury bonds, which has gone way up because those yields have gone down.
Yes.
It's at 4.82.
Yep.
So I figured, rather than taking any risk, I'm just sitting on the side making 5% right now. But that's going to change.
Yeah, but have you done the math on the compound interest if you got in the game?
Yeah.
You're scared. But, what is your? This is all fear, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. But I've never talked to anybody that told me the story you just told me. That's astounding. Mm-hmm. It's truly amazing. Really? You're certainly not hurting. You're 61. You got a lot of money in the bank. You're safe. Man, you're safe. Right. But, you called us. Are you starting to feel as though I should probably be investing a good chunk of this? Where can we help you? Because you're just afraid to death of the stock market and mutual funds and the whole 9 yards. It's just fear that's driving this.
Actually, I've watched a lot of the shows, and the mutual funds seem appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, we've got a strategy for that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah, so I think, John, are you married?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if I were you tonight, I think you and your wife go buy a nice bottle of wine because you can afford it and sit down, open it up, and you guys start dreaming. Dream about, hey, where do we want to be? We're 60. Let's just say the Lord's been good to us and we live till we're 90. We got 30 years. What do we want to do with this money? And there's a really interesting book, John. It's called Die with Zero. I want you to buy it. I don't agree with 100% of it, but it's a very interesting take.
Oh, boy.
And I think it leans more in a John's case, right? If there is a lot of wealth, what the role money plays in our life and what you want to do with it. Because this book argues, which I think in your case would work, not for everyone listening, but in John's specific case, that to enjoy your money, and it's not just spending it all, but if you have kids, John, and you want to be able to help them, do you wait till, you're gone at 90 and your kids are 60 and they, or is there stuff you can do now, with them to help that legacy happen in real time? The generosity portion, charity and what you give to, is there more you could be doing kind of in these buckets with the money you have today, while knowing, yes, you need to live off of this for 30 years. But I'm saying all that to say, you're in a great position just to dream. And we say dream in HD, like put pictures to words, as Dr. John Deloney says. But you and your wives tonight, sit down and just say, hey, what do we want the next 30 years to look like? Because the truth is, John, you get off this call and do nothing, and you're going to be fine. To Ken's point, I mean, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But I think also to say, hey, what if we grew a percentage of this and look for the next 6 years and we put it in some mutual funds, maybe some, growth in income, aggressive growth, picking out some good mutual funds, have good track records, and putting a portion of it and just seeing. And then you look up in 5 years, reevaluate and be like, okay, we like that. So you can step into this. I think there's some personalities that are like, put all the chips in the middle of the table and we're going all in and we're going to make 10, 12% starting today. And you could do that. I mean, if I were in your position, I'd lean more towards that. But I think it's okay for you guys to kind of stair-step your way into it. But I would really advise you to sit down with one of our SmartVestor pros, with the SmartVestor Pro, because sitting down with an investment professional in general is going to be really helpful. Because also, John, what's playing in the back of my mind, which we don't have time to unpack right now on this call, but it is the tax implications to some of this, the estate tax, all of that. I just want to make sure that you're doing things specifically in a really wise way that's going to be the best for you guys in your situation. So if Christian can give you that link when we get off the phone and interview a couple of them. If you have an investment professional that you love and you trust, sit down and talk to them. But I think getting someone in your corner that does this day in and day out is going to be really helpful, because I think you can do a lot with this, and I think your money can make money. And again, not just for the sake of like, we're just going to build a bunch more wealth, but to be able to continue to live a great and rich life for yourself and your family and others. Yeah,
and John, I agree with Rachel. I think going to sit down with your wife first and laying out what you want to do with that money, where you'd like to see it go, have that on paper, ready to talk about when you go sit down with some of these SmartVestor pros. And as you interview several of them and talk about it, see what their plan is. And you get to pick the one you like. I really like that. But I also want to just hit something for you, John, and our larger audience. Rachel and I just got an email this morning that was forwarded to us. And it was from a local SmartVestor pro that we know. And in short, was telling us about a friend of his who passed in his early 50s of lung cancer, tragically. But the point of the email is that they had invested a decent-sized chunk of money for their son in a 529 in 2012. So here we are, just 12 years later. And it was an enormous sum of money now. And what he said to us is they got 12% return over that time period. So over the last 12 years, that 529 got 12% return. And I just wanted to highlight what Rachel said. And John, these are not numbers that we're pulling out of our ear to be shock jocks. That's a real life story. And I just want to underline that to say, imagine the 5% turning into 10 to 12%. That's not a fairy tale. And to Rachel's point, what you can do with that over the 5%, I think that's legacy stuff, John. And it's really doable. So you're a smart guy. Yeah. You're incredibly disciplined. And I'll say, being a Ramsey at heart too, being in the market, but also real estate. John, you mentioned that you have a couple of properties there. And Dave's very honest on this show. That's where a lot of his money is. So there's different proven ways to grow your money, whether investing traditionally like just in the stock market or paid for real estate. There's some great avenues out there to make your money work for you. And I think that's a great goal. So thanks for the call, John. Yeah. We appreciate it. Pretty awesome stuff there. Wow. $4 million in a savings account. What's your problem? It's pretty impressive.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about investing, visit RamseySolutions.com/investing or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.